Oh man, give it a sec. Give it a sec. Come on, baby. It's like, yeah, kick the engine to get it going. There you go. I hate OBS, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first game of the day. You're watching the TING Open Season 4. This is the round of 32 EU Group number 1. EU short for European, just to broadly cover all of the different and fantastic players we have competing today. Spawning in the bottom right, for example, coming from France, it's going to be the pink Zerg, Stephano. With his opponent, playing from Germany, I tried so hard not to do an accent, I'm sorry guys. It's HeroMarine! And TvZ is going to be really juicy, I think. I bring this up primarily because we had a ZVZ and TvZ only tournament through a King of the Hill not too long ago. And if you guys missed out on that, the too long didn't read, was Stephano kicked some serious ass. To the point where he was actually on top of the hill when he retired rather than getting killed by somebody else because he didn't realize he would be winning so much. They didn't budget enough time to keep playing. So I'm gonna say, like, HeroMarine, by the way, give him some context too. You know, he's been playing in a lot of Corsair Cups. He kind of took Showtime's seat on the throne for a while there, and he's been having no problem dealing with people like Nurchio and a Laser and other really fantastic Zergs. I want to say, though, specifically something in the last month feels like HeroMarine's maybe lost some power, or maybe the other Zergs just figured him out better. Honestly, I don't know which. But I do know that I think Stephano is way better than a lot of people are going to give him credit for because of how long he was gone for. And then HeroMarine, maybe not as good as we thought. And I think these two things combined are going to make for a pretty even matchup. I hope, at least. My fingers are crossed. Either way, Catalan is a 3-player spawn map for those unaware, and unfortunately, Stephano scouts that this is not the base of HeroMarine, so he'll be taking a weird path through the middle because he didn't know which way to go, left or right, realizing now to go left. And HeroMarine's actually made 2 Marines instead of a Reaper, so trying to deal with these Zerglings should be fairly easy. This is a really big change up for HeroMarine too, not just him specifically. Ooh, even a bunker coming down. He's taking no risks here. I was gonna say, Stephano does this thing where he does go a little bit Zergling heavy without making it too all in. My concern is that it's not gonna pay off this game. Normally this buys a lot of time at the natural base. Cancels the SCV kills the SCV building command center, sometimes even gets a cancel out of it, but that bunker coming down should lock this in place. However, oh no! The SCV actually doesn't finish the command center. He's gonna stop this from building the bunker. Oh no, this is not gonna work out for HeroMarine the way he wanted it to. SCVs are getting pulled because he has to. And Stephano has already turned the heat up on this game. Now, granted, HeroMarine finishes this up. Hellion should easily be dealt with. Or excuse me, Zergling should easily be dealt with. Yeah. Salvage that bunker in a moment too, probably, once he recognizes there's not a big follow-up. But for Stephano, you know, he did drone a little bit behind this, but took a cut to his workers. You know, he's not sitting on a very healthy worker count right now. 23 for Zerg, matching 23 for Terran is not the same thing. Especially with 2 orbitals in play, we're just going to see mule after mule start winning the income war. In fact, he's already winning the income war. But yeah, getting back to my point of what I was trying to express, though, Stephano did this thing where a lot of the Terran players we were fighting, these were best of 3s, these were best of 5s. It was something that caught a lot of them off guard multiple times. HeroMarine might just have played Stephano enough times to know what his deal is to be prepared like this, because 2 Marines is really unconventional for an opener. I mean, especially on a 3-player map. Reapers all the way, every single time. But he actually, funny enough, doesn't know where Stephano spawned either. So he's going to scout the wrong base up here and then realize he's down to the south. It's a little bit funny to see. But Stephano actually has a couple of queens, extra ones on the way. I think the amount of Zerglings he has is adequate. This isn't really a big attack coming out of HeroMarine yet, but the fact that an armory is finishing up shortly, it looks like he's gonna be dropping. Ooh, Hellions. I like this. Okay, guys. HeroMarine played mech in the Corsair Cup a couple times, and I thought it looked fantastic. I thought his mech was rock solid, but then he kept switching it up and not playing mech. And I thought, oh, maybe he just actually got lucky with the game we saw. You know, it's a once-off thing. But he's actually going to maybe commit to it this game. I mean, a Hellion for the opener combined with his armory, everything smells like mech, but still might try and play elsewise, depending on how much damage this does. I'm hoping it's mech, though. I want this to be the commitment. Either way, first drop heads towards the main. Stephano does have an Overlord to see this. This is nice. Not going to get caught totally off guard. The bigger thing, too, is he spread creep between his main and natural. Queens are pretty notorious for being slow, and thus they don't get to respond in time. But with that creep spread, that's not going to be a problem. In fact, Zergling's already on top of the Hellions. Make sure this doesn't get too out of hand. Queen already snipes off one of them. The other half were already dealt with, too. These Queens were picking them off before they transformed. And Stephano's defense here has been so far so good. Ooh, I like this. The pick up and drop micro out of HeroMarine. But yeah, with the Queens coming in, he knows that medevac's not long for this world. And this attack ultimately did not do that much. In fact, what's the... Yeah, resources lost, not favoring HeroMarine at all through that. That was really well controlled out of Stephano. But also, it's not going to be mech, and that's why I said it may end up depending on how much damage that first attack did, because now he's swapping into these extra barracks. Stim starts up, and most notably, the double engineering bays for those double upgrades. But he's still going to be trying to harass, trying to be very annoying with this. Now starting to get some of these drone kills. Stephano let his guard down for albeit just a moment. So get up the Raven go to the natural. Hellions come to the third. Hellbats in the main. Oh, he's trying to kill the Queen so he can get out of there safely. Oh no! Oh no, 2 health, that medevac lives. No, these Hellions still looking for a couple of kills. Getting distracted by the Queens. The Raven dips around to the south. That's why he wasn't looking at the Hellions for a moment. Looks like this is queued up to... Oh, get queued up. That thing took a lot of damage. That thing barely lived is what it did. Okay, well, HeroMarine's got a lot of very damaged things, and unfortunately, you cannot drop mules in the ocean, so you can't repair this anytime soon. But the second Raven pairs up with it. Maybe this one distracts the Queen, so the other one can come in with its 2 auto turrets. I mean, this thing has a lot of energy. So risky to go in like that, though. So a couple drones going to get picked off right away. This is nice. Little bits of harass here and there. 11 workers killed in total. And for HeroMarine, as you point out, that sort of... I'm going to call it a late transition of bio. It's weird because, like, honestly, this could have, should have, would have gone towards mech. I would have liked to have seen it at least, but I guess going to feel a lot more comfortable playing bio versus Stephano. Now, the interesting thing about this for Stephano is I don't think he had to really adapt his playstyle too much. Hydras, Lings, and Banelings are your composition versus bio, but Hydras and really anything versus mech works as well. Continuing to see these auto turrets come down. But yeah, a couple transfuses, Queen DPS. They're pretty well suited for this. This attack might be nice, though. There's a lot of creep he's got to go through, though. There's like a stopping point, too, at each tumor, basically, where you got to scan, wait for the creep to recede, maybe. But he's going to ignore all of that, just go straight for the hatchery. This is a really blitzy, dangerous move, but if it works, he'll get a base for it, which will be nice. He gets back to the mineral lines. He'll take on these Zerglings with relative ease. The question is, can he deal with the Hydras? And it's looking like the answer to that is a big stark no. So he pulls back out of the base. Hydras don't have their upgrades yet either, and I don't mean for range weapon upgrades or anything like that. They don't have their speed, they don't have their range, so these will get better with time, but looks like this Raven dipped back to the main. Now up to a total of 8 kills on it. Is not bad at all. So one of the things we've been seeing is tanks have really come back into the meta. Ooh, nice supply block. A big part of this is just because Widowmines don't cut it versus Hydras. Not only can they pick off the Widowmines with relative ease, they just don't take the same hits because they don't cluster the same way as other units. So tanks being the necessity, his production to them is a little bit late. Marauders will soak some hits, sure, but Marauders do not bring the damage. And the tank production is not even consistent. HeroMarine's just looking at a bio ball that is weaker than his opponent's army, and that's where I get really worried about this, because creep spread's already up on his third. Like, Stephano has creep in his opponent's territory. On top of this, he's got Banelings ready to fight, but speed's not done yet. Tanks set up a little bit late. The Marines are picked up on the front line, but there's just so many Banelings coming in. The bio dodges back through most of it. Stephano going off with creep may have been a huge mistake, but the Queens joined into the fight. They can soak some hits, and here comes round 2 of the Banelings. Quick note goes to the Raven coming in there with a point defense drone was amazing to help reduce a lot of this damage, but that point defense drone is gone now. Second Raven comes in, only to get picked off immediately. Nice focus fire out of Stephano. Continuing to fight this. SCVs were pulled into the fray. Marauders are holding strong, but they're not dealing a lot of damage, so this is taking a long time to clean up. And HeroMarine actually is going to have to abandon ship, reconsolidate, and get his forces right back in there. Command center might even go down. It is going to go down. This was a brutal attack out of Stephano. HeroMarine, by the way, while this goes on, like, okay, he defends, he deflects. Maybe the army trade is worth it, question mark, but it's not because Stephano's on like 4 bases behind us. GG gets called, and Stephano, ladies and gentlemen, walks out of game number 1. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. I need more ice, but I don't want to get up. So I'm going to drink some lukewarm drinky drink. All right, we got Ascension to Aiur for map number 2. Let's just get this going here. Pretty quick lag. Again, guys, HeroMarine is a fantastic player. He's a good standard to measure people up against, but Stephano has seriously stepped up his game since he came back. In fact, where's he on the GM ladder right now? He's ranked, guys, he's ranked 6 on Europe. Actually, look at this. This is beautiful. HeroMarine's ranked 2 on Europe. Stephano is ranked, 5 apparently. So whoopsie daisy. This gives you a better context of just like how sick this matchup actually is between the 2 of them. But waiting for Stephano to give us the ready. Oh, I heard some bits and a resub. Thank you very much, guys. Give me a sec here. I'm driving the ship solo today. Thank you, Squishling, for the 20-month resub, and Flying Sheepman for 22 months. Sub. That's perfect for what's going to be the wub. And, of course, thank you, Jim Sock, for those bits. All right, let's get in the game. Welcome back to the Ting Open, Season 4. It's still the preliminary of the group. If you've just tuned in, don't worry, you haven't missed anything, except for maybe my bad jokes on Twitter. Do me a favor, though, if you guys are tuning in from the United States, first off, give me a hell yeah in chat. Secondly, consider checking out our sponsors over on bttv.ting.com. It's a United States phone service. They're looking to save you some money each month with your phone bill. And best of all, you can get $25 in credit by going to bttv.ting.com. That means you could essentially try a month of Ting out for free, guys, because phone bills for them are less than 20 bucks on average. That being said, let's get into the game. Spawn to the top left, it's the pink Zerg player, Stephano. And at the bottom right, the red Terran HeroMarine. We actually got some hell yeahs in chat. Hell yeah! Alright, so Stephano up 1 at the moment. Feels pretty good, man. HeroMarine, I don't think did a lot wrong, but it did feel really awkward for him. Especially when it went from like what looked to be a possible budding mech build to the bio swap later stim. But the worst part of all of that for HeroMarine in my eyes was the fact that because he swapped out late, because he chose to play differently, his production was missing. His reactors, worst of all, and the barracks, they all came down late. So that just meant that he wasn't gonna have numbers to fight a Hydra army. And you can have all the tanks in the world you'd like. At the end of the day, most of the time it comes down to your number of Marines versus their number of Hydras. And if you're producing 2 at a time, they're cheaper, they're cost efficient, you got those medevacs to back them up, that's when the Marine fights look really good. But there's a lack of tanks, there's a lack of Marines, and I feel like it's safe to say a lot of that came down to the fact that HeroMarine had that awkward swap back into bio. Maybe if it committed to mech, it could have looked different, but he is a smart cookie. He's number 2 on the Grandmaster ladder for Europe. I'm not going to question his motives. I'm just going to point out that that looked a little strange to me, at least. As far as Stephano, though, should probably talk about some of his flubs, too. This is interesting. HeroMarine's done this yet again. So rather than opt in for a Reaper, he's gone for Marines. This catches the first Scouting Overlord. And beyond this, which is really, really important, the supply blocks Stephano. You know, there's, how to say it? A laser does this thing with scouting that I really like, where he goes for Overlord speed, and he was only using like 1 Overlord consistently to poke. The way Stephano is doing this isn't wrong. It's a very classic way to play Zerg for scouting methods, but as we see, very dangerous because the supply block's going to ripple in a little bit here. But, oh, we have Widow Mines coming up for what's looking to be possibly a drop. Although he's swapping the reactor over. Hell yes, maybe. Yeah, okay. This will be really interesting actually watching the way this plays out. I like the Widow Mine a lot. A lot of this too is anticipation of Zerglings that never came, because Stephano has, again, it's not just like my opinion. He has always gone for these Zerglings in ZVT that come early, that come annoying, that look kind of like maybe it's an all-in, but it's not. However, that wasn't the case this game, and we know that. Stephano just took that third, and he's happily droning behind this. So this is a lot more what I expect Zerg to look like. Also, yo, Sylvester1, my dude, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. Good to have you on board. But HeroMarine leaves the base with his first drop. Widow Mine, plenty of Marines. And I think Stephano should be okay, but only if he is in position for this initially. Like, let's say this boosts in here, gets unloaded in full. I don't think Stephano's so set, but with 4 queens, already moving in position. No, they're just spinning creep. No, it's a coincidence. Alright, well, he'll see the drop now. Yeah, Zergling's responding immediately. Queen's coming too. He realizes though something's up. He sends the queen south. Oh, this is such a sick readout of Stephano. Zerglings come to the main, gets surprised by one of my shots. Zerglings are not enough to deal with the Marines, funny enough, but he still picks up because he wanted to focus on microing down here and not risk losing the Marines. But Stephano had that sixth sense. He knew HeroMarine wasn't going to be just poking him in the main and immediately moved all of those queens southwards to intercept these aliens. Then the medevac gets picked off and the Marines are in a great spot for the mineral lines, but these queens should still have the upper hand in cleaning this up. The downside for this though is he's losing a lot of time mining, but 5 or so drones went down. This is a good attack out of HeroMarine, but this was a fantastic defense out of Stephano. His read on the situation, like before it even really commenced, like I don't know if maybe the Overlord saw the edge of the Hellions, so I'm giving him too much credit. But either way, he responded as he needed to exactly. Also, we got Tall 1983. Thank you for that Twitch Prime sub as well, my friend. And Jono 1232. Does this mean I can drink now? Well, it depends what time of the day it is more than your age, let's be honest. You should not be drinking before noon, and it's 10:30 a.m. over here. But thank you guys both for your subs. Raven's going to float up northwards, and it looks like... Yeah, this will be some annoying auto turret harass, but the queens are already all here, so even just picking off the auto turret shouldn't be too much of a problem. Yeah, looks like he'll lose like a Zergling and... the drone, that was about it. Second auto turret comes in. This one's not so ready, but there's also not as many drones here. Trying to focus fire on said drones. Nice to see. Bailey Nest comes down. Hopefully we'll see speed this game. Although apparently last game didn't need speed. He was off creep with slow Bailings, could still win because Stephano's a boss. But also, again, I think a lot of that had to do with HeroMarine. You guys will notice we're at 6.5 minutes in, and the units made now compared to what the units made last time are just so incredibly different. Already reactoring out Marines, already set to get that production humming away. But HeroMarine's gotta be careful not to lose these drops. There's a lot to be said about sustainability. Oh, I didn't realize that Raven was so low. And getting these drops in and out for damage is nice, but not at the cost of the actual drops themselves. So he's gotta be careful with how he uses these. But one more. Hell, thank you for that Prime sub, brother. All right, at the edge of creep, there's a couple of Baneleys coming in. I don't know if he'll dive in and go focus those. I think for him, the best thing to do here, Marine, that is try and get one of the queens, but there's so many transfuses. Doing that seems very difficult. Picks off the Overlord instead. Kind of a nice FU as he leaves the base. Upgrades looking fantastic for Zerg, and I love that Stephano does this, by the way. I gotta give him some shoutouts, because I nag and rag on people all the time. We'll see people go for like a Hydra Zergling Baneling composition, like that's their core, and they always focus on the melee upgrades, which, don't get me wrong, it's not bad. Zergling's hitting harder, Baneling's hitting harder. You never don't want that. But I do find most of the time the game's about the Hydras, less about the Zerglings, and maybe the Banelings, but the Banelings upgrades are a lot less relevant if the Hydras have good upgrades too, because those Hydras will execute everything down real fast. Very fast attack speed. So I like seeing the weapon upgrades as the priority on the Hydras. This also might mean that Stephano is planning to stick on layer tech a lot longer than usual. Most players try and speed their way up to hive tech and get ultras, but if he's comfortable playing with Hydras and Banelings, more power to him. Queens for the now, deflect the drop to the south. We do of course have double drops heading to the main, but nopes the heck out of there, realizing Banelings are ready to intercept. Just let's drop over here. Alright, well, a bit of breathing room, I suppose, but HeroMarine, there's never not something for him to do. Yeah, as we see here, you can start cleaning up creep if he realizes there's nothing really around. So you don't waste that scan. This is where it'd be nice to have that Raven from earlier too. I think he repaired it, right? No, he never did. It's just chilling in the main. Okay, well, that thing will be nice to repair up, because even if you're not going to be using auto turrets, bringing it up just so you don't have to use scans is nice. On top of this, if it's got that point defense drone locked and loaded, can reduce a lot of Hydralisk damage. Ooh. If he gets these overlords, there'll be no high ground vision. Those Hydras won't be able to walk through the pass. Can you get one? Not quite two. Nice transfuses. So yeah, those will provide the high ground vision that would let him shoot back at HeroMarine, but otherwise, nice positioning. Army composition right now, 67 Marines to 23 Hydras. Not that many Banelings, actually. This is worrisome. Stephano's only on, like, literally 4 Banelings. No, excuse me, just made some more, so he's on 9 now. Is there blue flame? No, that just looked really weird. Okay, I'm having a crazy day, guys. I swear to God, I saw some blue flame in that army, but never mind. The downside to this, too, is worrying about a concave. However, that Raven comes to the front line. There's that point defense drone. It soaks up about 2 volleys of Hydras, but then realizes that's still not enough. He's fallen back. That poor Marauder didn't realize where he was going, didn't see what hit him. Point defense drone is really expensive. Takes a lot of energy, 100 to nullify that damage, but the fact that it removes damage is huge. Oftentimes that'll be what lets you unload or siege your tanks up, get in position, but yeah, forget what I said about the hive tech estimations, by the way, guys. Stephano has reached hive tech. Marines and Marauders just trying to trade out some blows here. He's really trying to dodge out the Banelings, but again, the core of this army value is not in the Banelings, it's in those Hydras. That's what I love seeing about this. But again, going back to this, he's on hive tech, so he's got Ultra Cavern on the way. He's got +3 armor, not something he ever faulted on. And normally, I'd say right now, the average Zerg player is looking at like 2 melee, maybe 1 ranged weapon upgrade, at 1 or 2 armor upgrades. Like, Stephano, I would say, is actually ahead of tech of what we'd normally see in this position, and I like it a lot. +3 ultras with chitinous plating. Oh, this is going to be tough to chew through. Meanwhile, triple drops might hit the main, but we're kind of hitting that time where like a single ultras might pop. This army picks up, realizing this might be a little too much to handle. HeroMarine's starting to get towards those Liberators, but my concern was for so long he wasn't having anything else. He was playing this very much like Innovation, and don't get me wrong, Innovation plays this game really well, where he was just sticking on Bio, and I don't think a Bio Ball is the way to go unless you are, in fact, Innovation. But you know what? Beautiful pick off here in the main. Loses one of the emptier medevacs for it. And killing Hive, most importantly, is going to reduce the chance that we're going to see Vipers anytime soon. Not saying that Stephano stylistically depends on them, but Ultras being the only Hive tech for a little bit will give HeroMarine a bit of breathing room. A small win here. This is going to be a nicer win. We got Liberators coming up too, with a lot of the Hydras already having gone down. Oh, does he not have a second starport? No, so we don't actually have that tech lab. We don't have Liberator range on the way, but still, regular Liberators have a lot of damage to them. They can help reduce those Hydra numbers very quickly. Here we go. Liberator setting up, but the Banelings coming in. HeroMarine doesn't have a lot of place to kite to, so they're going to get some good connections on the Marines and the Ultra spawn too, but HeroMarine might still be able to get out of this if he picks up. Liberator's traded out for enough of the Hydras. There's actually not a lot to chase him back home. Reinforcement's going to be here as well. He'll meet up with this. It's a little bit dangerous to be taking the Ultras head on like this, but I guess feeling comfortable to take on 1, not a problem. Now pushes into those remaining 5 Hydralisks, because Stephano's army supply for a time was in the danger zone, but he's just had 5 Ultralisks spawn. Adrenal glands done for these Zerglings, and a lot of these future fights are not going to be fighting around the Liberator. It's going to be pushing underneath it. Marines can focus fire down 1 Ultra here and there, and that's going to be kind of nice to see. HeroMarine, I'll give him this too. He is still consistently playing macro very well behind this. Command center coming down. He's looking to expand. He's already on 4 bases. Stephano on 5. These guys are still pretty neck and neck, but overall Stephano's supply is hurting just that little bit more. A big part of this, I would say, too, is going to be lacking that Hive tech. I want to stress, I don't think he's dependent on Vipers. I don't think Stephano's a player that is winning or breaking games based on Vipers. But not having that option, not being able to abduct, not being able to blinding cloud, you've removed a lot of play styles from his book just by having done that snipe from earlier. Where's the new hive coming in? Okay, at the natural. There's still a lot of very important buildings here in the main. Getting the infestation pit. Ooh. I was gonna say, getting the infestation pit would be nice. Well, infestors haven't really been part of the game. They may be at some point. Attack to the south still going on. A lot of creeps still on the map. Did that Raven from earlier die? I think it did. Yeah, so no Raven whatsoever. Tech lab coming down from our Marauder production. I'm really curious. We got 2 starports. Or just the one? Still just the one. Okay. No, it's 2. I'm not crazy. There we go. 1 and 1. 4 Liberators at a time is nice. I think taking a moment to get Liberator range might be better, but I think HeroMarine at the moment was a little more worried about his army supply. Heads on over to this base. Good snipe. Stephano just going to abandon ship right away. Smart move, but unfortunately, he never got Overlord's speed. But fortunately, HeroMarine's not going to try and capitalize on this. That would have been a nice pick off of Overlords. Gets caught out of the retreat, however, and the Marines, unfortunately, are taking the Ultras at face value. Not the way you want to go about this. Medevac's getting picked off, too. And, of course, HeroMarine's not paying attention over there because he's paying attention over here. Planetary Fortress goes down. To a cost for Stephano, a lot of Banelings and even an Ultralisk, I think, went through for that, but... You know, HeroMarine had just finished establishing this other base. Not the end of the world to lose this one, but not good either. Hive Tech got restored. 4 Vipers are on the way, and now we're finally going to get to see those abducts that we had fathomed earlier. Liberator range is going to be nice if he ever gets around to it, but he's still focusing on weapon upgrades and just the number. Ooh. Yeah, where that yawn came from snuck up on me, but anyways, the number of Liberators is going to be good. More Liberators means that you're going to need more abducts, but I mean, honestly, abducts haven't been the issue here. He hasn't had them for so long this game. Planetary is trying its best to hold. Good repair, but he's going to abandon ship and starts running away. Now he's just kind of stuck with his army on the wrong side of the map and nothing at home to defend with. Another base goes down, and that's just going to suck. Hydras can sit up on the high ground and deny mining too. They don't even have to commit. Meanwhile, Abduct's starting to go off to pluck out those Liberators. Hydras are pushing forward. They're not shooting said Liberators, so HeroMarine could have possibly set them up again, but he's so busy cutting you against the Ultras, he just doesn't have the mouse clicks to actually do that. I'm really worried for HeroMarine at this point, guys. I think Stephano's starting to get a little too far away with this game. He's almost doubling the army supply, and while there's Liberators being made en masse, you know, Stephano was dealing with those before Vipers were in play. Vipers just made it even easier for him. GG. Stephano takes game number 2 with a fantastic 2-0 lead now in the series. That being said, guys, we're going to go to our first commercial break of the day. Give me a moment to breathe, and thank you, Artemios5479, for that Prime sub. But yeah, 2 minutes of commercials. When we get back, we'll go to game 3. Maybe it's the last game of the series. Hopefully not. Either way, it will be an Interloper. I'll see you guys soon. Back at it for game number 3 here in the series. Might be the last one. Hoping it's not, though, crossing my fingers. So some interesting stats being brought to me from chat. I don't know if this is true or not, but people are saying the other barcodes that were above HeroMarine, by the way, or around HeroMarine. Apparently HeroMarine has actually taken all top 3 of the EU ladder slots with his various accounts. That makes this guy's wins a lot more impressive to me. In the top left, if that is true, it's the currently 6/5th ranked ladder player, Stephano, with his opponent apparently gobbling up all those slots because he's just so good at this game. It's the Red Terran HeroMarine. But okay, here's a here's a counterpoint, guys. All right, and this does not intend to take away from HeroMarine. I believe HeroMarine would do this still, even if this wasn't the case. But HeroMarine may only be in the top 3 ladder spots because all of the best Zerg have currently left and gone and taken Korea's top ladder slots. Because if you don't know, Cyril, Laser, Snoot, TLO, they're all in Korea. Namshar, well, I think Namshar's back home now, but they're all in Korea training. And Cyril like hit top of the ladder over there. Everyone said, oh, this means nothing. But for me, I saw that as like, oh, so he's not top 1 of Europe at this current period of time. So for someone to tell me that HeroMarine's barcode is, makes a lot of sense. I still think he could probably pull that off on his own, but it made even easier by the fact that one of the best Zergs in Europe, not to mention 4 of the best Zergs in Europe, have been removed from the situation. Removed from the equation. Either way, I really see a lot of people in chat being negative about, oh, balance for this, Zerg that, Terran this. I think when it comes down to it, what I'm admiring is both players are playing this really well. One is just playing better than the other. I don't think somebody's playing worse or handicapped by being Terran. I don't think Stephano has an easier time because he's Zerg. What I am seeing, by the way, too, like, for Stephano's credit, look at game number 1. No, excuse me, which was it? Ascension Aiur. I think that was game number 2. His reactions to the Hellions and the Marine drops. Like, we happened to be in the wrong camera spot at the wrong time, but it gave us the perfect view of the Queens heading towards the main and then immediately realizing, oh, they should be somewhere else in anticipation of an attack he didn't necessarily know is coming. Like, Stephano's reads on HeroMarine are just really good, and I like it a lot. And as far as HeroMarine goes, I think there are some mistakes in his play. We're seeing some choices that we've seen other Terrans, like I'm referencing Korean Terrans, make as differences. For example, priorities on Liberator range instead of Liberator production, but production is necessary if your army supply is lower, so you can't take the time to go for that range. Like, there's a lot of things that are making sense, but ultimately not being good here for HeroMarine. I think that if he gets to just play a solid game, not worry too much about what Stephano's doing, he'll be just dandy. But the real question isn't really right now whether HeroMarine can beat Stephano or Stephano can beat HeroMarine. It is going to come down to whether they can beat Protoss. Because if you don't know about the bracket, there's a PvP happening after this with Mana versus DNS, meaning whether you go to the winner's bracket or whether you go to the loser's bracket, you're fighting against a Protoss. So, Stephano can kick all the ass in the world he wants against HeroMarine, but if he can't beat Protoss, it's not going to mean jack squat. Same for HeroMarine. Lose here, win there, you gotta beat Protoss eventually in this group. Which, by the way, Mana has been my favorite player for a while. Definitely not the scariest Protoss we've ever seen, but him and DNS I think are both going to be very formidable opponents for both HeroMarine and Stephano, regardless of what the combination will be. At any rate, enough about speculation, because we do have that drop heading out for its first bit of damage this game, but Stephano's already in position for this. Widowmine burrow skin just looks so weird, guys. I can't. Just burrow so slow. Actually, here comes the Hellions shuffled around the other side of the map, but he flies right over an Overlord, so this isn't even guesswork. Stephano should know exactly what's going on. Zergling's ready to anticipate what is likely Marines, but in this case will be Hellions. Poking at the front, looking to try and get a Widowmine shot off on those Queens. Really wants to just smack them hard in the face. The Liberator follow-up's really interesting too, because if he does enough damage to the Queens, the Liberator gets away with a lot. Alternatively, the Liberator could support the Marines through these chokes, because both here and here will be easily filled with one Liberator zone. Say the Widowmine went off on a single Zergling, so well baited out of Stephano. This tiny little trade's going on. Meanwhile, this Hellion drop has remained idle, so it never actually went through. Not yet, at least. More Hellion's going to join this front line. Does he have an armor yet? He does, so these are going to be Hellbats. Hellbats would be really nice for this, actually. Some of these creep tumors. Nice to see. Liberator sets up, but not quite in range of anything too relevant. He's going to try and kill the Spore Crawler. I love this. He's actually body blocking the Spore Crawler, so it kind of derps out. One of the Queens go down. Two of the Queens go down. This Liberator gets some great damage, and meanwhile unloads in the main, makes some Hellbats. And this, oh, this positioning is so good for him. These Zerglings aren't going to be enough. One Queen's damage is not going to be enough. He gets stuck within his Mineral Alliance or whatever. But he's winning on this side. He's winning on this side. HeroMarine's getting a fantastic fight for himself. Is this going to be enough to snowball, though? It looks like this one's finally being dealt with by the reinforcements. This drove a lot of mining off of the main. He's contemplating dropping over here, but frankly, it's going to be dangerous no matter where he goes. All of his units getting kind of low. Staying power isn't really part of the question. It's more about how much damage can he do before he has to pull out. Ah, that medevac guy sucks. That being said, Hellbats trade out for a lot of Zerglings. 54 Zerglings died cleaning up this attack. They trade out even for the resources lost, but round 2 of the Hellions is already here, and oh, the oversaturation, boys. Stephano tried to do something really cool. I love the clutch attempt at an evolution chamber to block the Hellions out from running in through the mineral lines, but this has already done a ton of damage. 10 workers killed. Looking to lick up a couple more here on the south side. 12 workers killed and a lot more Zerglings. We were at, what, 54 before? 58 with 13 drones? That was a wonderful run by. That was the kind of damage HeroMarines needed to see in this series so far. That being said, back at home, not going to see mech or anything strange for the follow-up. It's going to be a lot of barracks, stim on the way. Ooh, 3 more barracks even. HeroMarine's diving deep into that production. Oh, these are going to find the third, so this can at least block it out. This will be really annoying too, because if you can't land it, you can't be dropping extra mules or scans. Kind of sucks. HeroMarine's actually pushing that to deal with this. Scan to the north doesn't reveal much. This is a great map for Terran who want to play around tanks, by the way. So just to be perfectly clear, for those who don't maybe watch a lot of StarCraft, or maybe you're just a casual viewer, like there's a lot of terrain advantages you can do here if you go tanks. So I really like tanks on this map. Like for example, you position a tank here, Hydras and Lings aren't getting on top of that anytime soon, and this forces engagements around this whole area. There's another spot over here you can use as well, but for the most part, this seems to be the more popular one. Either way, tank production is only just starting up, so we're not going to actually get to see many tanks for a fair bit of time, I guess. Hopefully, though, we see them come in, it'll be just as well controlled as those early drops were. I don't know, maybe HeroMarine just need to shake off the rust or get that morning practice out, but Game 3 for him has been a like black and white difference of what Game 1 and 2 looked like. So it might be a 2-0, guys. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. Got +2 started up. Stim's done. We got combat shields and concussor shells on the way. Concussor shells will be really nice because he does go for a lot of marauders, which I don't necessarily think is the greatest thing since Stephano is not too dependent on banelings. But that's the beauty of having this extra 3 barracks so early. He's just going to have a lot of production, period. Nice pickup, too. Picks off 2 of the Hydras just to dive in and walk away. A lot of creep that needs to be cleaned up. He knows this too, so taking his time. Meanwhile, still trying to dodge out here in the north. There should be enough airspace to hide from the Hydras. I don't think this will be too much of a problem. Queen's also rushing the front line to replace the tumors. Stephano wants to get that map control with that creep spread. Keep in mind, I think it was like game 1, Catalan. Like he had creep in HeroMarine's third. Like his creep spread is pretty impressive, all things considered. But there's those tanks. A good chunk of bio, a lot of supply. This game as well, I want to know, is the first time HeroMarine's not really behind in upgrades either. I think I was complimenting Stephano on this earlier, and I still give him compliments for it, but HeroMarine was behind on upgrades. Even if you're going to be on 3-3, the Zerg shouldn't beat you to 2-2 type thing. Not if you want to have a good game. But army moving out to the right for one, and army moving to the left for the other. A lot of rocks being torn down just to open up the extra pathways. I actually like this move quite a bit. Stephano is going to be trying to probably do some run-bys as the game goes on too, so that'll benefit him a little bit later. But for now, the Marines, they're knee-deep in creep, and it's a little bit scary because he could get caught. Attack on the north side, picks off a spine crawler. Going to get a couple queens for their trouble. But Stephano's looking to come in from the backside, guys, and these tanks are going to be exposed from behind. They're not in that sweet positioning I was talking about before. So as the Hydras and Lings get on top of this, there's no cover for the Banelings, which do run to the heart of the armory. HeroMarine ends up slipping pretty bad with this attack, not realizing there was that back attack coming. Same time, though, super cool moves out of Stephano to take his time to slowly get around the map and try and make that happen. And he's also anticipating the drops in the main, trying to focus on the medevacs. I just get here a little bit late, a little bit too slow, so it looks like these bios should trade out for this. Drone's actually getting pulled into it, means he's got to focus fire on top of the Hydras, but that's okay, because enough of them and should be able to get out of here. However, he's got to worry about the counterattack now. A lot of Hydras and Banelings right on his doorstep. That tank, again, not in position, everything here unsieged. Picks up some of the bios, he's going to give away the rest. Ooh, this is starting to look pretty good for Stephano and pretty not so good for HeroMarine. That being said, what he has at home should be able to deal with this if the Marauders soak the Banelings and the Marines don't die needlessly. I think this is a fight HeroMarine can take. Yeah, especially with reinforcements coming on the right side. Medevacs are not being focused, and there's an attack at the third simultaneously. Kind of choked out by some AI, but Stephano had a bit of momentum going for him. He still does here on this side of the map as the reinforcements are barely not dealing with this, but at the same time, losing a fourth base? Well, I guess with the SCVs getting pulled into it, that's going to equalize some of that damage. HeroMarine's starting to fall back. He's got to just bulk up at the main and get some of his forces together. Once he's got enough Marines, he can take on this Hydralisk force, but trickling in like this is just getting him killed. Meanwhile, northward, Stephano has still not sent anything home to defend, so he's going to lose another base at this rate. He does pick off the third base of HeroMarine, which is a very, very deadly blow, but not game-ending. Jones get pulled on this side too. Hydra's coming in from both sides. He just focuses on killing the hatchery. I can't really pick up these medevacs, they're so low. So this army's going to start falling apart. Both players now reduced to 2 bases, but this hurts Stephano a lot more than HeroMarine, because HeroMarine can do exactly what we're seeing. Kind of wang jangle his command center over to the left and start dropping mules. Get that economy back up and running. Both players, though. That was some insane trading, if we're going to be honest. Meanwhile, back in the main, Queen under fire, but looks like this drop is pretty much done for. The medevac's out of juice, and it's really low on health. This, by the way, this third game, this sort of trading back and forth, the third base for third base, slapping it out, this is what I was hoping the whole series would look like. I was really astonished the first 2 games were so one-sided, but now that Stephano's kind of out of money, I'm really worried for him going forward. Like, he's long-distance mining, he's making Zerglings. At this point, he's going for one final all-in attack to try and win the game. But you don't base trade a Terran, guys. HeroMarine can lift those buildings. This isn't doing too much. The Spore Crawlers were kind of deadly, so the medevacs had to boost through them. Yeah, this is going to take the income from almost nothing to definitely nothing. Bantley's collide in, but the Marines just split, and that's all they need to do. Hydra's killing some depots to the south. Honestly, it doesn't mean much. Command center does go down, though, which is nice. But the SCVs are pulled, and they live. These poor drones. Oh, no. Focuses the bailing. But the Queen focuses the medevac, so this will actually get cleaned up. But Stephano and HeroMarine are just both totally screwed for money. Actually, I think Stephano may have won the game with this. HeroMarine gave too much away with that drop. Oh my god, he's got 19 Marines. I don't know if this can fight this. If he pulls all of the SCVs and kills this army, Stephano has no recovery. But I don't think HeroMarine knows this, so the SCVs are busy shooting the Zerglings instead of... oh no, they weren't hitting the Hydras. There's not enough DPS. The SCVs can soak hits, but they can't deal damage. GG. What a tight game, but map number 3 goes to Stephano with a fantastic start to today. Sweeps the first series with a 3-0. Very well frickin' done. Alright guys, next up is Mana and DNS. Someone called coin flip. We do a coin flip for vetoes, then we veto like AB, ABA type thing, all that stuff, guys. We do have to go to a word from our sponsors, TING. A couple things before we do that. First off, if you are enjoying the show today, consider following the channel. It won't cost you anything. It's totally free to do so. We already had some really nice subs come in. But new subs are always appreciated too. And beyond that, just enjoy the show. So yeah, here's a word from our sponsors. To give you guys an idea real quick, between vetoes, sponsored ads, and everything, we'll probably be back in like 5-ish minutes. So if you're gonna go take a break, do something, come back in 5 minutes or so. It's about a safe guess. But for those who don't know what TING is, before we go to said sponsor break, they are of course a US mobile phone service. They benefit people most who are on Wi-Fi and don't use data all the time, but still on a phone that can call and text. So look into it if that describes you. Otherwise, we'll see you in a couple minutes.